Hey, this is Dual Aditya from LightHaven. Today I want to continue the conversation and the series on empty hands that we started with the last video, and I want to talk about the context in which Pekiti Tirsia empty hands must be interpreted and what it's, in my belief at least, meant to be used in. Now I've been training the martial arts for a very long time now, 25 years, and I had this observation all the way in the beginning, but it really exasperated itself when I took teaching a lot more seriously, and that was that when I'm sparring or when I'm trying to demonstrate something on an absolute newcomer, it often went very differently from what I thought. When I'm sparring on demonstrating on somebody who is a little bit more trained, everything was very smooth. But as soon as I was demonstrating on someone who maybe it was their first class, maybe they've come for a workshop, whatever it may be, as soon as I was trying to demonstrate on them, and especially when I was trying to do a takedown or a specific lock, they would naturally try to resist, right? Maybe you guys have also noticed this. It takes a while for us to learn to relax in class. It's very natural for us to try and just stiffen up. And as soon as people start stiffening up or they start trying to resist, they're not doing it on purpose, but they're trying to resist the takedown, suddenly a lot of stuff that I was trying to do stopped working. So in a lot of the previous videos, we have used this as a reference point, right? And I have either spoken about using this as a reference point for these 4 doorways, as we call them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've also used it as a reference point to, from using these 4 doorways as an entry, to then look for some sort of a joint lock. The issue is, and I have said this very often and I believe this quite strongly about most Pekiti drills, is that as soon as I start going for something and I start looking to lock, let's say Zari blocks this, and now I start looking for any kind of lock, if Zari just steps back, suddenly a lot of things stop working for me. And that's one big reason why people really struggle to use this stuff in a sparring context or even in a grappling and jiu-jitsu context, right? Because we think that it's just suddenly I'm going to hit him once, or I've trapped his hand somehow, and now suddenly it's going to be mine, and suddenly he's going to let me do whatever he wants me to do, because that's the way we drill. However, it's not actually going to be that way, and if you've done any kind of live active resistance drill, you know it's not going to work that way. And this always really confused me, because for me the alternative was that, you know, maybe I just need to go harder, I need to snap harder into the takedown or harder into the lock, or maybe I'm not good enough to pull this off. And a lot of my research or talking to other Filipino martial arts practitioners or other martial arts practitioners, I was seeing quite a big divide. I was seeing a divide between really big instructors. By big I mean physically big, physically strong, and I was seeing a divide between them and some of the smaller instructors like my size. I'm not very big, I'm not very heavy, I'm not very muscular, right? And a lot of the stuff that the bigger instructors were just sort of naturally doing, the small people were really struggling to do, or the small people were just not maybe sparring enough, and that's why oftentimes they would lean into things like they would be a lot more flowy and showy in the movements, but I really doubted whether I could pull that off if someone was resisting me, because I was struggling to pull it off against people who weren't even trying to resist me, they were just being stiff. So in this context, what is the point of what it is that we do, right? And how does that apply to any other martial art or sparring context? Now the first thing to remember is that the point of this drill is to show me ways of getting past his limb. I need to clear the path to finish the fight, right? And you could end up in this situation either like this, maybe he's punching, I am parrying. Even here you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Just the doorways are slightly different sizes, which will give you different opportunities, right? So every time that you have, he punches, I'm parrying, he's punching, I'm doing some sort of like a Filipino martial arts Sinawali type of movement. Every time that there's some sort of bridging of distance, maybe I am collar tying, every single time there's some kind of bridging of distance, you will find some of these doorways and some of these entries. The point is, I want to finish the fight, and I finish the fight by striking him effectively and efficiently. Effectively means that every time I hit him, he should feel it. Efficiently means that I should do the maximum amount of damage with the minimum amount of effort. In order to do this, I need to hit the right targets and put power behind my strikes. Because remember where this comes from. Pekiti and FMA are essentially weapon arts first, right? And so if he's thrusting me or he's slashing me, I've come into this place. My job from here again is to end the fight. In order to end the fight, if I go forehand, look, Zari is going to block it, right? So from here, that's why often I will go a backhand, or maybe if I want to trap his hands, I go forehand, force him to do something and then scoop to clear the way. But the point in all of this is I'm looking to finish the fight. Again, he gives me a high slash. I have jammed over here. It's not, this is just for the sake of a drill. If he slashes me again and I can immediately finish the fight, I will do that. Okay? Only when I cannot, he's going to give me slash. As I go to thrust, he stops it. Now is when everything else starts to happen. Okay? So, if I can immediately finish the fight, I will immediately finish the fight. If I cannot immediately finish the fight, hi Luna, then I'm going to be looking to clear the obstacles in the way of finishing the fight. And that's where this drill is derived from. Even here, you will find yourself in this situation quite often in stick fighting and sometimes in knife sparring as well when you're entering in close. How do I get past this arm to be able to effectively attack him? Do I go from here? Do I go from above here? Do I go from here? Do I go from below? How do I do it? How do I pass this? How do I pass this frame? Okay, so that's point number one. Point number two that also comes from this weapon context, let's go empty hands versus weapon, is that it's not just enough for me to be able to pass his whatever arm is stopping me from finishing the fight, but because I'm assuming that he has a weapon, I must pass it but also control the arm. It's not enough for me to just hit him and then forget about it, or hit him and just keep hitting him. Because while I'm hitting him, he's going to be slashing me, he's going to be thrusting me, he's going to be doing all sorts of things. So even for a low thrust, he's coming, I've bisected the line. From here, I am going to clear the path either by hitting him up here and then going to the groin. But if I just leave this and start punching him, he's going to continue to attack me. Okay? So it's not only important to clear the path to finish the fight, but it's also important to control the weapon arm so that I can continue to strike him effectively and efficiently while keeping myself safe from the weapon. And that's where this drill comes. It shows me entries, again, to get past this barrier. So this drill is not only teaching me how to clear the path towards striking so I can finish the fight, but also how do I control his arm after I have done that. So I'm not just allowing him to stab me while I'm looking to finish the fight. And so all of these things that we have talked about in Pekiti in terms of this bisecting line drill has to be taken in that context. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, if you learned from what you saw, please do like and share this video. If you have anything to add to the conversation, leave that in the comments down below. Please do subscribe to the channel. All of these things really do help out the school and the channel a lot. A huge thank you to all of our YouTube members and our patrons on our Patreon page. If you'd like to know more about the exclusive content that we offer, again, for our YouTube members or on our Patreon page, check out the links in the description down below. Lastly, thank you Zarir for all your assistance. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next video.